Jason, it's transportation talk time. Are you ready?
I am ready. What an intro, Kathy. I'm excited about today because we get to talk about a little bit of what we did last week. And your idea to let me be creative and to just expand some of my wish list items we're going to talk about later was really, really exciting. So I've had a lot of time to think about that kind of stuff. So I'm ready to gear in today.
Absolutely. You're right. We had a really good week last week. I know I was really busy, and it started out with Project Homeless Connect, and that was just super. I mean, we got to see so many people and interact with them. And I personally feel like we gave out a lot of really valuable information.
Oh, I know. There was just so many times, right, where people came by and there was a variety of needs that they had. And I just love how our table, by the way, which was, I think, the largest table there. We had 3 tables. If you stopped by and saw us last week, you would have seen this massive 3-table setup. But what it did, though, is it gave us a good opportunity to get everything out on the tables to more efficiently help people. And that was important, Kathy, to be efficient, because it was the busiest Project Homeless Connect I'd ever been at. And just so excited that not only the items that we were able to hand out and help people, but I'm telling you, Kathy, we got a chance to really get those surveys out there, right? So that we could really gauge kind of the population that we were talking to that day.
Yes, I loved that we had those surveys because really, we got the data from the surveys, but for me, for some people, surveys are kind of passé and they don't want to do them anymore. And that's how they did things yesterday. And that's so last year. But for me, it was really a conversation starter. Like we got to start so many conversations with people because we were getting them to fill out those surveys. And
that immediate feedback.
Awesome.
That immediate feedback that you get when you're talking to somebody regarding the survey, you're right, just gets you led into so many other wonderful conversations about how we can help people and so forth. And really, like you had mentioned, Kathy, our programs, we're required to have specific data, and this is just a really good way for us to not only just get that data, but have some real tangible discussions on what people need, what they want in some cases, because it's not a bad thing to want something. It's not a bad idea to want, more service out here. So we got to hear a little bit of that. And, definitely, when I brought these back and started compiling all the numbers, I think we found some pretty cool things, a lot of good data sets, but mostly though, we are out there, we are serving people, and there are people that are getting to where they need to go. Even, with we've had a, reduction in service because of, driver shortages, but hopefully that'll come back and we'll be able to provide just even more service in the future. So thank you everybody out there for helping us out and filling out those surveys. Hope it didn't take too much of your time.
Yeah, no, again, those surveys were awesome. And we may not be able to solve the world's problems based on those surveys, and those surveys provided a lot of valuable information, maybe some starting points, some building blocks, some ways for us to really spur the conversation internally on how we can make things better and work better for those people that use our services the most. And
what's really cool too, just to finish this up and we'll get into the meat of our discussion, it was to see the look on some people's eyes, not all of them, but some of them that were filling out that survey. They were really careful to fill out that survey because they really did believe that their voices were being heard. I know you and I talked a lot about that to some of the people that were filling out the survey. It's a great way to get your voice heard. And sure enough, you could just see some people, they were like, I really want to make sure I'm answering this right, or that I'm providing that type of a comment. And, the comments overwhelmingly were thank you for being here for us. So that made me feel pretty good, Kathy. So anyhow.
That's awesome. And so just a note, just to, reiterate what we were saying is we are here for you. We are here. We're ready to help in any way we can.
Yeah, that's right.
And part of that is being here on this show every week.
You
have an opportunity to drop those questions in the comments and for us to remind you that we're here and what we do. And so I had this idea for this show based on this, basically the survey. No specific answer gave me the idea.
Right.
But I feel like I wanted to collectively dream and put out there in the universe with Jason what things we could do to improve our system here, to make transportation more accessible for more people.
Absolutely. And that's a real important question, Kathy. That we have to, you and I, professionals, especially in this industry, we really need to ask ourselves those questions, and this show provides a great opportunity for you and I to really banter back and forth on, what type of, future transportation we want to see. What do we want to see made better? Or what, do we want to see, some sort of form of technology maybe become more prevalent in the future? These are the things that we need to ask ourselves, because we never know when that opportunity might come up where we have that voice and we have that funding and we have that support to be able to get those ideas pushed out there, because it all comes right back down to it is we want to provide services that are just incredibly relevant, incredibly useful and productive for individuals out there to be able to get from point A to point B without having to use single occupancy vehicles. So I'm excited to talk about this, Kathy, and I don't know, I'm going to throw the volleyball to you and have you set up what you want to see right off the bat. Because I got one thing in here. It might not be a surprise to everybody else, but we'll talk about that. But what's one thing that you would like to see, Kathy? What's your dream?
Well, I would love to see my dream. Are we going to start out with the far out one or the closer by one? I don't know.
Let's take the ones that have at least an outside chance of becoming reality easy, So let's talk about those ones that we think we might see in the next 5 years.
Okay.
Possibly
5 years. And I'm really pushing for it. I'd really love to see this happen. And that would be a switch to mobility on demand, transit on demand out here. And where we have more services that's public transport that is accessible to more people from their doorstep.
Absolutely. And isn't that in some cases called microtransit? Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I am starting to see that more and more throughout this country. And I'm excited to always, usually on some of my email, lists that I'm on and so forth, sometimes there's a little blurb in there about microtransit and how a transit district somewhere, usually back east, kind of starts out, but it's just so excited. Yes, the on-demand side of things. And we love our buses. We love our routes. We love what it does. But to be able to just call in to a call center and say, I'd like to be picked up at a particular time to go to a specific location. Can you please do that for me? And that happens the next day. Right. That would be really cool.
Mobility as a service.
Yes,
that's
mobility
really,
as a service.
That's one of the ways that it's described. And along with that, I'm going to have my close on wish list be a 2-part thing.
Oh, yes.
And that is bundling mobility as a service in a one-stop shopping type of atmosphere. So if you go to buy your ticket, there's one place and you can access your ticket and funds for your ticket digitally in one place. So if you're going to buy a bus ticket, that's how you buy it. If you're going to call a taxi, you can pay for it through the same place on your phone. If you're, going to go to Portland, you pay for it in the same place on your phone. So it's not your job to find all the places that you have to pay all the different fares for. It's in one place on your phone.
Absolutely. Our main job is to make transit easier for people or more efficient. Another word we use for that is to be completely and totally accessible. And when you have to have many clicks, many phone calls, or many places that you need to go to complete your transportation packet, that's not being efficient. That's not making things easy. So we want to do everything.
It's not accessible for some people.
It's not accessible for some people, especially older adults and people with disabilities. We want to ensure, and that idea, Kathy, one stop, one shop, one click, whatever you want to call it, that's really Not something I think that is too far out there. I really, if I had a crystal ball, if there's a potential that I could see that definitely in the next 5 years around here, especially for us. It's already in operation in some locations, but usually it's just maybe a little more money, maybe a little bigger cities and stuff like that have more resources, to put out there.
Well, I'm excited to try out the Orca card when I'm up in Seattle at some point in time this next year, because that is exactly that. You buy your Orca card, and then however you use it, it deducts the funds off the Orca card, but you can use it on all different modes of transportation. Yep.
The Orca card is really cool. Now, I did get lost, to be fair, on Sound Transit with my Orca card, but that's okay, though. I would like to say I intentionally got lost, but no, that card's a wonderful thing, and it would be neat to see that one day in our neck of the woods.
For sure.
So, Kathy, so we've talked about that. Now I want to you will not be surprised what my immediate wish list would be. And although sometimes it feels like it could be kind of far, but I really want one day to live in Clatsop County, where I live at right now, where I call home, where my kids are at, where we had more walkable, bikeable solutions around here. And we do have plenty of places where you can ride your bike. There are a lot of trails, but our roads and the infrastructure where people need to get out and actually commute back and forth between neighborhoods or between cities is actually pretty behind the eight ball. It's not really good. So I'm hoping that, down the road at some point in time, we can look at, as infrastructure plans are being made, that we would be able to come in with some data, perhaps through those surveys, to ODOT and convince them, like, hey, if you're going to be making any plans in the future, please always consider making things more walkable, more bikeable. Because I tell you, my commute this morning, I love my commute. I feel very safe on my commute. However, though, it's a lot of traffic, and I would feel a lot safer if I had a nice protected bike lane or even a separate path that I could take on my own. So let's do that, because we want more people to get out of vehicles onto transportation options. And one of those options, my favorite one, is the bicycle.
Right. And I hear all the time from people, well, what do we need bike routes for? I mean, because nobody rides their bike. Why do we need them? You need them because they do. And they would ride their bikes more if there were safer options.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, safer options will beget more bicycle riding, and definitely with what you and I do, Kathy, from time to time, and you got helmets, man, that you give people, and that's the coolest thing, right? I
love the helmets that I give out. If you ever see me at an outreach event and you don't have a bike helmet, I hope you're going to ask me for one.
Yeah. And we give out, safety items and so forth, high visible stuff, blinking lights that you can put on bikes. We are encouraging people to utilize their bicycles more often. And if we really, really want to do that, we really also then have to push for safer, more reliable infrastructure in the future. So, hey, Clatsop County, ODOT, if you're hearing this, please ensure that everything that you are planning down the road always takes into consideration walkable, bikeable pathways. Please, would love to see that. But Kathy, do you have another item at all by any chance? I mean, look, we're playing this wonderful game of volleyball back and forth, and I'd like to spike it back to you on this one. For you, I don't know if you've got something that's
all right. I'm going to dig up that spike, Jason, because I was a volleyball player, so those are terms I actually know. So
there you go.
Dig that spike.
Dig the
spike. You don't get to score a point on me. I'm going to say, well, my far out wish list, my wish list that I so wish we could get out here is a train service, whether it's an elevated track or whatever form it takes. And that would be some sort of train service again that ran from Astoria all the way down to Tillamook at the very least, that people could ride up and down, and it ran on a regular basis. And then they can hop off, and then they're in whatever their chosen area is and use whatever micro transit facilities are available in that town and get around, and we can get those cars off the road.
Absolutely. And the cool thing, Kathy, I'd love to ride my bicycle from home over to the train station over here in Astoria, which there's one just waiting to have trains. They even have the elevated causeway where you could hop onto a train there. The train tracks are even still there too. That would be really cool because I would love to just put my bike on that and travel all the way down to as far as that train would go and spend the day riding bicycles in other areas and stuff without having to take a car. I mean, we can do that by bus and everything. It takes a little while, but hey, I like trains.
Hey, if it was a monorail, how cool would that be?
Oh, you know what? I'd rather go with suspended monorail slung. Right. Let's go with just the best that's out there. Right.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
And then it wouldn't take you a whole day to get from Astoria all the way down to Tillamook like it used to. I mean, you could imagine the scenery too. I mean,
yeah.
Wow. Oh boy.
Hey,
and
I'm
then connect that to the ferry system that's going to run from Astoria to Portland up the river. Because I'm going to dream big. So I just dug that volleyball you sent my way and spiked it right back your way.
Well, I'm going to go try to save it by diving out of bounds here and go really crazy here. So in order to get to that, let's just imagine I'm on top of the hill, right? And I don't really want to walk down the hill or climb up the hill to make it over if I'm walking and stuff. Wouldn't it be really cool if we had a wonderful suspended tram? Let's just imagine going from the very top of the hills in Astoria right down to the waterfront or close by where the train station would be. See, that would be really cool too. Okay, but not as cool, Kathy. Now here's where I'm going to save it. And I don't know, we're going to throw this one up and see if it can be spiked. I don't know. But I'm going to say right now, we're going way out there. Literally, we're going into outer space. Okay. It is so crazy. But I would love nothing more than to be able to ride my bicycle, take the tram and maybe the train to a spaceport. Okay. And then hop on a rocket and then have it fly me up and then all the way to the East Coast in 30 minutes. Now that would be some amazing bike trails that I could go ride across this country and only get there in 30 minutes because that rocket took me up and point A and flew me to point B halfway across the country. 30
now
minutes.
That's a moonball you just shot up there. We're going to wait for that to come down and land to see who won this match.
Yeah, point to point rocket travel. Let's do it. Mass
I'm all for it. Yep. So that's what Jason and I do on our free time.
Yes.
Which we have none of, really.
We play transit volleyball.
We play transit volleyball and we talk about transportation options. And so we'd love it if you join in our game and drop some comments in the comment boxes about what you'd love to see for transportation options in our area or your area. If you're not from our area, throw them in there. If we talked about something that you've already got going on and you've got some tips or tricks for us to how we can make it happen here, we're happy to accept those too. So if you've got that moon rocket already working in your area, we want to know how we get that here too. So
hey, I want to throw something out there.
Drop it in the comments.
If anybody has been on a bullet train or a high-speed train anywhere else other than the continental United States, please drop us a line on that. I'd like to hear what your experiences were on that as well too. I love the idea of bullet trains. I'd love to ride one day, but all I can do right now is live vicariously through your experiences. So please put that down as well too.
All right. And so this all has a reason because sometimes thinking outside the box and throwing these things around is how new projects get started.
Yep.
And so that's why we're doing this. We want to get you involved. If you want to play transportation volleyball with us, please join in. Let's see what new projects we can get started in our area or yours.
Let's do it.
And
Kathy,
on that note,
yes, have a wonderful weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you right back here next week for another Transportation Talk with
Get out there and
Jason.
ride a bike. That's right. Take care, everybody.
Bye, all.